and welcome to the Singing Boston. Today I'm going to make some fondant for winter feeding for our girls. For this you're going to need 4 parts sugar to water. So I've got 4 pounds of sugar, 16 ounces of water, and you can use either apple cider vinegar or white vinegar. From what I've read, the acid in the vinegar helps convert the sucrose into fructose and glucose, but some say that the bees do that automatically anyway. But I figure it can't hurt, so I'm going to throw in a little apple cider vinegar. And you're going to use an immersion blender. If you don't have one, this is a great excuse to go buy one. They are awesome for soup making, and rumor has it, it's soup making season. And you want cheap paper plates. You don't want any of those thick ones that actually hold your food. You want the ones that if you were to grab one at a picnic, all your food would immediately be on the ground. All right, get our burner going. Oh, and one important piece of equipment, candy thermometer. We are going to take the fondant to the softball stage, which is 235 degrees. So I'm going to add my sugar. And my water. Give that a quick stir since I've got my burner going already. Make sure I don't burn my sugar. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. If you do use apple cider vinegar, make sure you give it a good shake because all that sediment settles in the bottom. Make sure that you stir it so that all the sugar is thoroughly melted. It should be a very thick syrup. Once I have all the sugar stirred into the water, I'm going to put my candy thermometer in. If you haven't used a candy thermometer before, make sure it doesn't touch the bottom of your pan. You want to make sure it's floating in the liquid because 2 things can happen. One, it can break because it's on direct heat, and then you have mercury. That would not be any good. And if that happens, throw out this batch. And the other thing is you're not getting the true temperature of your sugar water. I've got my candy thermometer in, and I'm getting a pretty good boil going on now. When you start boiling your sugar water, do not leave your stove. It can boil up and over really quickly. If you start foaming up too much, give it a stir, and you might want to turn your heat down. Once it's done foaming, your liquid will get translucent, and you should just about be at the softball stage at that point. It does take a little while to reach the 235 degrees, so put your patient pants on. I have hit the softball stage, so now I'm going to turn off my burner and I'm going to let it cool to 190 degrees. I use the paper plates that I showed you because I like to reuse them if I can. You could take a pie plate or a cookie sheet with a lip and put some wax paper in the bottom and spread your mixture on that. But then the wax paper is pretty much no good once you put this in the beehive. And I try to avoid as many single-use things as possible. If it absolutely sticks to my paper plate, I can put that piece of the paper plate on, just leave it on the top of the deep where I'm going to put my fondant patty. And the bees will carry it out, and you'll find these little white pieces at the mouth of the hive. So if you don't have access to the paper plates, you can substitute wax paper inside a pie plate or a cookie sheet with a lip. And I'm at 190 degrees. Scrape the sugar off my thermometer here. And now I'm going to use my immersion blender to break up these crystals. You want to make sure that you have whatever you're using for your fondant patties, whether it's the white paper plates or something with wax paper, ready to go, because the more fondant cools, the tougher it is to scoop out. Make sure that when you lift the immersion blender out of your mixture, you don't still have that power button pushed. The voice of experience speaking here, it makes a huge mess. All right, my crystals are broken up. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can put this mixture in a mixer. Please be very careful because it will be hot. That's why I like the immersion blender. I don't have to worry about spilling on myself because knowing me, I probably would. So now I'm just going to take my mixture and I'm just going to spread it onto my paper plate. You don't want it super thick. It will kind of spread itself out. I kind of make it the size of the inner piece of the paper plate. And then we're just going to let them cool. And there you have it. So it looks like we made about 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 3 hives. So we'll probably divide a couple of them up. But we do supplemental feed this time of year. We're in Colorado, and obviously the weather is turning. It's in October right now. And so we have an in-hive sugar water feeder that sits where the super used to sit. And then we put this on top of the deep. And the girls seem to absolutely love it. We'll go back in a day or two and it'll be gone and we have to put another one in there. So enjoy, be careful, sugar is hot, and happy beaking.